Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Property Nirvana Studios. I'm here with, this is Brian Carmody, founder of Property Nirvana, and I'm here with my very special guest, Cynthia Schmidt, who goes by Mrs. Landlady in the marketplace. Thrilled to have her. Cynthia, you bring so much experience and real world landlording experience to the table. Let me just tell the listeners a little bit about, and the viewers a little bit about you. As landlords, it is vital now more than ever that you know all the options and strategies available to you to get the money due you. Cynthia Schmidt has written the ultimate set of training manuals for collecting unpaid judgments. And she knows that has written down rules for every state in the United States. So that's pretty crucial because, as you know, laws differ in different counties and different states. So today we're going to learn from Cindy, who's been out training for many years on how to do this. She's personally collected over 100 satisfied judgments representing herself in court. So that's the kind of real world experience you're going to get to hear from today. Cindy is a member of Property Nirvana. So again, like I've always promised you, this is the kind of person and kind of expert you're going to get to rub shoulders with in the Property Nirvana community. Okay. So with that, let me, Cynthia, I gave you a little introduction, but why don't you just tell us a little bit more about your background, what you've done over the past several years?
Well, I was a letter carrier carrying mail for 20 years in Belvedere, Illinois. And I was always interested in real estate. And one of my days off, I had been looking into rental property and I bought 2 single-family homes and came home. My husband was livid, but we got through it. A year later, I pulled my retirement from the post office and went into real estate investing and got up to 75 rental units at our height. And I represented myself in the eviction, small claims, and post-judgment proceedings because we've had over 500 tenants and sometimes they forget to pay the rent. So we have to remind them and maybe get a judgment and collect on the judgment. This is a business. So that's sort of in a nutshell. And when I went into the landlording 100% after giving up my retirement in the post office, I was serious about collecting the money that I deserve, we deserve, like any business. Gary and I just went to Walmart. We went to Walmart. Every item you have to pay for. That's the same with rent. It is a business. You have to pay for the rent that you're accruing up. And no, I'm not mean. I'm just a business person, like all business, and I want my money. And when the judge awards a judgment, I want to collect on the judgment, court costs and interest naturally on the judgment that the judgment awarded. A lot of the landlords, the problem is that they look a blind eye. Oh, I only want my place back. Well, that goes so far. Any business has to learn the full circle. You have to know now after a couple evictions and they look back and they think, oh my gosh, that is money that should be recouped into your business and so you can go out and keep building your empire.
So true.
I have written a version for all 50 states and it's eviction, small claims, post-judgment, and I researched and studied all states. So I can see that there's a little difference, but we're pretty much on the same avenue of the laws.
And do you, have you always managed your own properties or?
Yeah, Gary and I have done, we did all the sweat equity. I'd go and represent myself in court and then go back and start painting with Gary. And so we were UPS post office, my husband, after he retired. So we were delivery working blue collar workers. So we hit the rentals and then I love to dress up and go to the court system with it. But we are all sweat equity, managed them all. So this is from the ground up. So we know every aspect. I know how to pull a toilet, getting a judgment satisfied.
Okay. So maybe it'd be helpful if the way we structured this conversation is we started from kind of the the beginning of the process when you approve a tenant, and get them into the property. Any tips that people should be looking out for? Any lessons learned at the beginning?
Huge. The credit check. Landlord's back. But my key, I was at one of my rentals years ago, and one of my tenants gave me the 30-day notice properly, and I was over there mowing, and I saw her really vacuuming, and I go, well, what's going on? And she goes, oh, the new landlord is coming to inspect my rental to see if they want to rent to me. And that's what this big landlord successful is. They go and do a home inspection from where they are moving from. Now that's the bottom line, okay? Mm-hmm. When I hear landlords show me pictures, I've talked to thousands of landlords. Look what they did to the property. Did you do a home inspection at the residence that they were moving from? No. Did you do inspections like every 6 months or yearly? No. Well, I don't know. What can I tell you? You have to do your homework. You're giving keys to this rental or real estate that you've worked hard to get. Mm-hmm. Do your homework. Credit check. Yep. 2 landlords back. Home inspection. If you want it to all circle out, and because then you can keep, and yearly inspections or 6 month inspections, come in with your checklist, deal with the problem right then.
Yep. And any suggestions on how to set up that relationship so that it's a very business focused relationship from the get-go?
I had over 500 tenants, and I've had a couple times I got too close not to say,
yep,
now I'll go to this. I rented to my mother. My bratty brother got us in a fight. She moved out on me. Okay, not to say it, but you never rent to friends and family. Never. Now, if you don't believe me, go do it, and then you'll say that in landlady.
Right.
Another thing is have customer service, but always have it that it is it's a business relationship. Mm. Now, a lot of our tenants bought the homes afterwards because they were single family homes, and then you could get more, let my guard down. But it's civil, but you have to still treat them. I never pull up and unexpectedly and start picking on them. I always respect them. And nice. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. Naturally they have to know when you're coming and stuff, but keep it civil, but still you have to know they are your customer. And so you may have to evict one and then show an apartment, and you got to drop it and go on to fresh. Don't carry it with you. A lot of landlords carry it with them. They are your customer also. Okay. Yep. So it's a thin line.
Yeah. Nice advice. Mm-hmm. And how do you handle, talk to me about the tenant who fails to pay rent for a certain month.
Right away, when we sign them at the lease signing, we show them the quitter pay notice. It can be 3-day in your state, 5-day.
Okay.
And let them know that if we don't receive the rent, you're going to get served the notice. We did personal, wasn't through the mail or whatever. We went right up to the house in an envelope, handed it to them, get in the car. There's no talking. Give them the notice. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a way to pay or figure it out, you're gonna go the next step, and you let them know. Now I came in and redid this landlord that had 300 units for like 20 years.
Okay.
And he kept getting like $50 owed here, $100. So I put it in his system on the 5th of the month. He serves all the notices, no matter if it's $1 or $1,000. Serve your quit or pay.
Yep.
Do not go up there and harass them. Do it the legal way. Go to your law book. It says serve the quit or pay. They don't pay, they have to evict them. That's just it. You can't live in a property that you don't pay for. Go to the Marriott today.
Mhm.
Go and say, I want to live here a week, but I don't want to pay the hotel. It doesn't work like that. So
Right.
you have to set your rules down that this is what's going to happen. This is, and if they can't live with paying it at that time, well, they wouldn't be a good tenant in it.
And this could be opening up a huge, complicated can of worms, or maybe not. But we're doing this interview in October 2021, and the country has just gone through 18 months of all kinds of government subsidies for, or at least I guess you'd call them laws that basically have said tenants haven't had to pay. How is that? How have you managed that whole process?
Well, here when the moratorium's over, then the notices get served.
Yep.
That's just how it is. Okay, the
Yep.
government, that's part of it. But let's go back to Walmart. And
Yep.
they were making money, and all through the pandemic, the landlord shouldn't be the one to hold the bag. Okay.
Right.
That is is you have to see it. Now, if you can work it out that they're going to pay you payments, now either the landlord's going to be have supplement from the government, or we have to come in, and this is a business. Like I said, Walmart did not open their doors for 18 months to let everything be taken out.
Right.
This is no different. Now they know they owe it. A lot of landlords will go ahead and say that they don't owe it. That's up to them. But we went right away and served our notices. We're back in business.
Yep.
And the government we're private owners. And the government, if they want to go do this, come buy us all out.
Right.
Okay. We are private owners. A lot of the landlords are going down because of this. So serve your notices, move forward, and there is a negotiating part that you could come into, but you got to get your money, and that's why you're a landlord, to collect the money.
Yep. So let's talk about collecting the money. What's usually the preliminary step to doing that, and what are the different avenues that could take?
Well, the judgment can come down in the eviction or small claims. Those are the two courts that are awarded the judgment, and in the eviction, possession. Tenant moves out, owing rent, damages to the property, or utilities, it's small claims court that we take them. Now we have the judgment.
Okay.
That's a piece of paper. That's where, a lot of them, they stack it up and they go and wallpaper there, and pretty soon they could own the island of Maui. Okay. So we record the judgments in all 50 states, and then we take them to, there's 4 post-judgment proceedings in all 50 states. In Texas is the only one that we can't do a wage garnishment, and Florida. Okay. The rest is all the 4 avenues. We can take them to the wage garnishment, bank levy, levy on personal, and the key, debtor's examination. All 50 states have that procedure. That's where I got most of my satisfied judgments. It's like you're a debt collection attorney, bringing them back. You subpoena their tax forms, you subpoena everything, and you can either go to supplemental process to one of the 3 bank levy, wage, or levy from the information, or a monthly agreement. That's where I had got most of my judgments satisfied, was they made a monthly agreement payment in the debtor's examination. It could be called subpoena ducis tecum in Texas, citation to discover assets in Illinois, debtor's exam can be in Iowa. It can be all these, but it's the same procedure where we bring them in, subpoena documents, and go forward. The payment agreement is where I got most of them satisfied because they made it. Now, when I first went into this court, I was there for 8 years at Rockford, Illinois. Not one landlord came. It was all attorneys. The one thing about this court, and this is all with the judge, if they don't come to this court, a bench warrant goes out on them. That's failure to appear. The judge wants you to come.
Yep.
They get arrested, we get the money on the bond. And they get the documents that say, if you do not come, this is what happens. This is what happens all the time in the courts if you don't appear. And it might sound tough, but it's a business, and the judge, I tell them, talk to the judge. And that's where in my course, it's how to conduct yourself in the courtroom is huge. And that's in my books, how to deal with the judge, okay? And if you do not appear, they'll have a warrant come down on them. And it's all for failure to appear. And right away, the money comes pretty fast. After that goes down, usually the judgment gets satisfied pretty quick afterwards. So that's just how it is. It's in this debt collection, and attorneys use it all the time. So it's all the law, and it's all business. This is the law of the landlord. Yes.
So talk about where does that settlement come from? Or I know it could actually come from different sections, but different pathways. But let's talk about the different pathways. So how you're the landlord, you've just won a judgment, okay, or a settlement. Who is paying you?
And what do you mean a settlement?
Well, I mean, with the judgment
in the debtor's exam, who's paying it? The defendant out of their monthly income. See, here's the thing is we subpoena all their tax forms. We subpoena any security deposit. We get all the information. We bring them there. They go out in the hallway. I conduct a discovery. And I can see that I can't do a wage, bank, or levy on personal. So I said, okay, this is not going anywhere. At 9% interest, I'm not going anywhere. Some of the judgments are 20 years. So let's make a monthly payment agreement. And that's where we come down to what it is. And after they make the payment agreement, we can talk later of if it's going good, some reduction in the interest at the end, but I tally it up. Now these judgments in 9 years double, and they're not going away. You're not going to get a sponge right from it. So this is not on your credit. And if they don't, then we keep them in a status hearing. If they don't pay, it's a contempt of court. It's just the law for us in the debt collection. And where does it come from? From their budget, okay? Because a lot of times they're paying another landlord, or they're eating here, and we subpoena. If you're not working, we bring them back in a status hearing. When they know you're not going away, see, that's the problem, Brian. The landlord always went away, okay? We have the debt collection all along now. If we would have had this 30 years ago, it would have been more, everybody did it. But this is part of the game, and it's the full circle. Now, I have a lot of them that have lawyers represent them, and they took the course because they want to make sure their lawyer's doing everything. And sometimes they give tips to the lawyers. Now, I've had lawyers take my course.
Okay.
So it's just tips for the lawyers.
Excellent.
Tips to find the people. You see what I mean? It's all a circle.
Yeah.
And it should be every landlord in the nation should know their business. Not just buying homes. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's your business. So the more more we know, the more credit we can get for being like Walmart, a business.
That's a great point. And how notable, let me just call out for all the viewers to point out that you're actually training attorneys as well on this.
They've taken it because they didn't have the judgment satisfied. Some of the debt collection attorneys, young ones, and they came to my seminars. And then when I learned to put a rider to the debtor's exam, what is a rider? That means what we want them to bring to the debtor's exam. When I learned that, like the tax forms, 3 years, and your checking and any registration to your vehicles. Because if you had registration to the vehicles, there's levy on personal, their bank statements. We see that bank levy, wage garnishment. But if we don't have any of the avenues, we make the monthly agreement in an agreeable amount where they start paying back the judge, it's not the landlord saying it, the judge says they owe this amount. It isn't like
Right.
some barrage. You owe
Yep.
this amount, and 70% of all judgments can be collected. 7 out of 10.
Nice.
And like the ones that have the judge trouble now, when they get going and everything, they're going to have money.
Yep.
And they're going to have to pay their bills, old bills, before they go on to their new bills.
Right. So let's talk about the tenant that moves out owing rent, probably due to in damages. Let's
Okay.
talk about that process.
Okay, we go to the rental and they didn't give you a 30-day notice. Okay, usually a 30-day notice to end the tenancy. If it's a month at the end. We pull up, they owe you rent, and there's damages. Now, first of all, we never take the security deposit for rent. Okay. Never. I mean, I can't tell you. That is for the damages.
Yep.
Because it's easier to prove in small claims owed rent than damages. We can, but we want that deposit to go for the damages. Mm-hmm. Now we come up, they owe that amount plus another month for no 30-day notice. So they owe that month for 1 month, they move out, you sue for 2 months. Okay. How do you find it? That's in all my books. I have all the websites. We can do from the process server, we can do a skip trace. We can use the post office change of address. And one time Gary saw him moving out, my husband, and he just drove behind them. Or, they told us they were moving to Texas. I know Texas was 4 blocks over. I'm teasing. But anyways, I have all the places, and then we can do a skip trace. Now, one thing about small claims that has worked pretty good is you send a demand notice first, and you wait 30 days. And I've had it a couple times out of the ones that they have gotten together with me for a settlement on it. Now, naturally, if they're going to settle beforehand, I'm negotiating a little bit, maybe the court costs and this and that, but you have to send a demand notice. And small claims, you come in now, you're going to walk through your rental and have the checklist. And then you're going to have the tenant go ahead and sign it that it is. Naturally, you come in, you take pictures, you have your checklist, you send a response for the deposit if it goes over to them, rebuttal, because you get up in front of the judge and they go, well, what did you send your security deposit letter concerning it? Now, I don't care if they owe $1 million, you still have to send them the security deposit letter where the deposit went. Because that's their money, the deposit. Right. The deposit is not the landlord's. We're holding it for the damages. So we have to send that out to them. Yep. And so you get up there, they're going to want to know pictures and receipts on the damages and a witness I bring. But if the deposit went for the damages, the most, or go over to the rent is easy to prove, okay? Because they're going to have to prove they paid it. They're going to have to prove they gave you a 30-day notice. And that's the easiest. But don't use that deposit for the rent. Don't keep it where it's supposed to be.
Right. Okay. Well, before we talk about kind of where people can find you and your training and so forth, is there any kind of last parting wisdom that you want to share that we didn't cover?
Okay. The thing is, even the ones that I took to the courts, even I seen them later, they always waved to me. I mean, this is the landlord-tenant relationship. When I was a mail lady, it was different, okay? The landlord-tenant relationship is tough. And you have to keep your distance a little bit, but you got to understand their side. I'm not getting soft, but this is where they live. This is important to them. And you have to respect the laws too, is going there to serve your notices. Respect them as the customer also. I know even, but still, and I have never had go rounds with my tenants verbally. I do not have verbal go around. I serve the notice, tell the judge, okay? Keep it that way, but still you have to be a little where this is their place and they're trying to protect it. And here we're the owner and it's a rough business. But if you show them up front, this is what's going to happen. Be honest and take control of your business, and the rest will all fall into place. They're good people. I mean, they still are. This is all, we're all working together, but look in the old movies, they had trouble, the landlords. It's landlord, it's always been.
The dirty word.
Take the relationship, don't take it too personal, and let's get into getting the money and taking care of the property. This is what we're about.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Cindy, where can people, I know, they'll probably be able to find you in the forums and so forth in Property Nirvana, but where else can they find you in case they want to reach out and get some deeper training?
On my website, collectbackrent.com.
Collectbackrent.com. Okay,
and
great.
I have my books that I have on Amazon. You can click onto there. I have my hard copy. I have some mentoring. I got some videos. So it's collectbackrent.com. And that's where most of it is. Will take you there. And what we're doing is educating the landlords of all the avenues to collect. And the more confidence we have, the more that there'll be less negative here.
Yep.
And it's a business. Like I said, it's you want to make friends, you join a bike club. You want to be a charity, give to a charity. If you want to loan money, go to invest in loans to go. Landlord, we have got to collect the rent and take care of the property. That's basically what I'm about.
Well, I love the analogies that you brought up in the discussion. I mean, the analogy to Walmart is a great one too. I mean, who decided that of all the people that didn't have to that people did not have to pay during the pandemic year and a half, who decided that it was the landlords that wouldn't get to get paid?
Here it is we supply the citizens of the United States with places to live. Otherwise, who would?
Right.
No, there's probably a bad apple in a bushel. But let's look at it as a whole. Where would the rentals come if it wasn't for the landlord? Is the government going to come out and buy all these homes and all these? No, I don't see it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can get abusive to the tenants. I'm not saying that. We have to respect everybody. But we do supply, to tell you the truth, we're the biggest small business in America. Okay. And if you go through a town, what do you see? Rentals. Okay. We're important and we shouldn't be holding the bag here.
That's right. Well, this was a really informative 30 minutes, Cindy. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today and with the community.
And keep investing and moving forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's too fun not to, right? Just got to carry through.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.